Jay Tarantino. I am the founder of the instrumental band Etherius and touring guitarist for Vivaldi. So I started playing guitar when I was 13, and I had a friend who played guitar, so I originally wanted to play the drums because we were going to start a band, but my parents, they wouldn't buy me a drum set because you can't turn a drum set down. So for my 14th birthday, or right before my 14th birthday, they bought me an acoustic guitar, and the rest is history. Really, with the Kiesels, even though I play metal, I do a lot of clean tones, lead tones. So there's a lot of different tones that I need, and the Kiesels give me all those tones. Metal, clean jazz tones, just clean, classical style, heavy rhythm, crunchy, heavy lead. Anything that I need, any tones that I need, I can get it from the Kiesels. Playability. Having the opportunity to actually go to the factory and talk to Jeff Kiesel and actually play some of the guitars off the assembly line, that was a big thing. And just being able to spend time with it. Jeff gave me 2 guitars back in 2015 to try out, and I loved them ever since. And I just started playing them more consistently. So I've been friends with Mike from Guitarmory for a couple of years. We struck up a friendship. He got into my music, and this was before he founded Guitarmory, before he started working for Guitarmory. And one day he sent me a message and asked me if I wanted to try out some pickups. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So they sent me a couple sets. And like the Kiesels, they give me all the tones that I need. I was really liking the pickups. And they actually, from there, they made me a custom set. And from there, I've been playing them ever since. My creative process is really simple. A lot of times I'll just pick up a guitar without even thinking. And I'll just start playing something. And sometimes something good comes out. Sometimes nothing good comes out. So I'll record a riff, I'll mess around with some drum beats, and then, I might take a 20 or 30 second piece of music, and just from there, I just work on it for hours until I can develop it into something. And then once I take it to the band, that's where we really develop the arrangements and turn it into a full, complete song. Really, it's just the music that I listen to. I grew up on old school metal, so a lot of the classic records that I grew up on, and there's a lot of newer bands I like too, so it's really like 50-50, a 50-50 split of old school and new school music that influences me. So I've always been intrigued by classical guitar. It kind of goes back to when I discovered Yngwie Malmsteen. He's very influential, even though he plays rock and metal, he's influenced by Paganini and Bach and all the Baroque composers. And as a result, I got into it too, and I started getting into transcribing and learning Paganini pieces that were originally arranged for violin. I'm always checking out other instruments. I'm always listening to other instruments. And going back to some of my old school influences, Yngwie Malmsteen, one of my favorite guitar players, and he always talked about how his inspiration when he started was composers like Paganini and Bach and that whole Baroque era. So that kind of inspired me to go back and start listening to those pieces. My technique is a combination of what the old school players did, guys like Marty Friedman and Kirk Hammett, Alex Skolnick, Yngwie, Randy Rhoads, those are my main influences from the old school. And combined with some of the new school guys, I love Dave Davidson from Revocation, even guys like Mastodon, Bill Kelleher, awesome guitar player. So I try to take, what I learned from the old guys, from the 70s and 80s and combine it with some of the newer metal players. And that's really my style, is a combination of old and new. In the next 5 to 10 years, I hope to take my music to a much broader level. I want to take it worldwide. I hope to do a lot more touring and make records. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star, to be honest with you. I wanted to be as big as, Metallica and Pantera and all the bands that I was listening to at that age. But as I got older, you start adapting to the music industry, and the industry has changed so much that, the rock star thing is not really an aspiration for me anymore. Now it's about just making a living and just carving out a niche. There's so many artists in the music industry now, it's easier than ever to become your own brand, record and write your music, be your own record label. So the piece I'm gonna play is a Paganini Caprice. It's Caprice number 16, and I was always drawn to the older composers like Paganini and Bach because of guys like Yngwie Malmsteen, who always cited those guys as their main influences. And it intrigued me because after a while, you start to get tired of just listening to other guitar players. So you want to find out maybe where they came from and listen to other instruments, and listening to the violin kind of helped me learn new patterns, develop new techniques on the guitar. Because the violin because it's in a different tuning and it's also a higher pitch, transposing pieces from the violin to the guitar is quite challenging. You know, some of the patterns are not typical of what we would play as a guitarist. So that inspired me to start transcribing violin pieces, and I learned this Paganini piece. I transcribed it to guitar, and the last minute or so is something that I wrote that I wanted to combine with it and to make it one longer piece, and I think it came out pretty cool.